Let's discuss properties of ITF, inverse trigonometric function. Properties of ITF. Property first, t into t inverse x equal to x. Now first, y equal to sine into sine inverse x बराबर cos into cos inverse x बराबर x. X belongs to -1 to 1 and y belongs to -1 to 1. Y is a periodic. A periodic. A periodic means not periodic. Just x equal to √3 by 2 and y equal to sine into sine inverse √3 by 2 and sine √3 by 2 is pi by 3 and sine pi by 3 is √3 by 2. Now this graph, this is 1, this is -1, this is 1, this is -1. This is the just graph, line segment. Line segment. Now second, y equal to tan into tan inverse x, cot into cot inverse x equal to x, and x belongs to R, y belongs to R, and y is a periodic. And graph, this is a complete line because range and domain are in R. This is a complete line. Complete line. Cosec into cosec inverse x equal to sec into sec inverse x equal to x, mod x greater than equal to u and mod y greater than equal to 1. Y is a periodic. Now this graph, this is 1, this is -1, this is 1, this is -1. The graph looks like this. Property 1, t into t inverse x equal to x. Now property second, t inverse into tx. T inverse into tx equal to what? When sine inverse, when sine inverse x equal to sine x equal to what? First example, just x equal to pi by 3, then y equal to sine inverse sine x pi by 3. This is sine inverse sine pi by 3 √3 by 2 and sine inverse sine √3 by 2 pi by 3. Then x equal to pi by 3, then input pi by 3, output pi by 3. Now another example, just x equal to 2 pi by 3, then y equal to sine inverse sine 2 pi by 3, sine inverse sine pi minus pi by 3. Sine inverse sine pi minus pi by 3. So sine theta sine pi by 3. Sine inverse sine pi by 3 root 3 by 2, or sine inverse sine root 3 by 2 pi by 3. So input 2 by 3 and output pi by 3. So now note, first note, this is a note, sine inverse sine x equal to x when x belongs to minus pi by 2 pi by 2. Then x sine inverse x equal to x. In general, in in general in general t inverse t x equal to x when x belongs to range of t inverse x. Just answer, cos inverse cos x equal to x and x belongs to 0 to pi. So how can define this is the sine inverse or sine as 2 pi by 3 and pi by 3. So now the in quadrant, this is the x equal to pi by 3 and x equal to minus pi by 3. X equal to 2 pi by 3, x equal to minus 2 pi by 3. Now this is the clockwise minus pi by 2, or this is minus pi. This is anti-clockwise pi by 2, so this is pi. Now x pi by 3, so y equal to sine inverse sine pi by 3. Y equal to sine inverse sine pi by 3 root 3 by 2, or sine root 3 by 3 pi by 3. Now y equal to sine inverse sine minus pi by 3 equal to sine inverse and minus in outside sine pi by 3. Y equal to sine inverse, this is minus root 3 by 2, and outside is minus sine inverse root 3 by 2. Then y equal to minus sine root 3 by 3 pi by 3. So y equal to, then y equal to x, and this y equal to x when minus pi by 2 pi by 2. Now this x equal to 2 pi by 3, y equal to sine inverse sine 2 pi by 3, y equal to sine inverse sine pi minus pi by 3. 2 pi by 3, so sine inverse sine pi by 3, or sine pi by 3 is root 3 by 2. This is root 3 by 2, or sine inverse root 3 by 2 is pi by 3. Input 2 pi by 3, output pi by 3. Now y equal to sine inverse sine minus 2 pi by 3. Y equal to sine inverse minus sine 2 pi by 3. Y equal to sine inverse minus sine pi minus pi by 3. Y equal to sine inverse pi minus pi by 3 is minus sine pi by 3. This is minus, this is sine inverse sine the root 3 by 2. Y equal to sine, this is minus sine inverse root 3 by 2, and y equal to minus sine pi by 3. Output minus 2 pi by 3, input minus 2 by 3, output pi minus pi by 3. So now sine inverse sine x, this x plus y equal to x plus y, x equal to 2 pi by 3 and y equal to pi by 3. Then x plus y equal to pi, and y equal to pi minus x, and this x plus y minus 2 pi by 3 or minus pi by 3, because x minus 2 pi by 3, y minus pi by 3. X plus pi equal to minus pi and y equal to minus x minus pi. So now y equal to sine inverse sine x equal to minus pi to minus pi by 2, minus pi to minus pi to minus pi by 2, minus x minus pi, minus x minus pi, and x belongs to minus, and x belongs to minus pi by 2, pi by 2, and x belongs to minus pi by 2, then equal to x. X minus x plus pi. Just x belongs to pi by 2, pi. Pi by 2, pi. Then pi minus x. How can remember this minus pi, this pi? So now draw the graph. Now draw the graph of y equal to sine inverse sine x. X belongs to R, y belongs to minus pi by 2, pi by 2. नीचे पीरियडिक फंक्शन है, पीरियड 2 का जस्ट ग्राफ. This is minus pi by 2, this is pi by 2. Now this is pi by 2, this is pi, this is 3 pi by 2, this is 2 pi. This is minus pi by 2, this is minus pi, minus 3 pi by 2, minus 2 pi. Now the graph minus pi by 2, minus pi by 2 pi, y equal to x. So this graph minus pi by 2 and pi by 2 to pi. This graph pi by 2 pi. This graph minus pi to minus pi by 2. This graph. This is the period. Period is 2 pi. So now I know this type of graph is this type. This is 5 pi by 2 and 3 pi. This type of graph. And this is the period. Period is 2 pi. So now this is the slope. Slope is this line 1. Just you can draw the graph. This is slope. Slope is 1. So y equal to mx plus c. This is slope 1. So y equal to minus mx plus c. So this line y equal to x. Then y equal to x. And this line y equal to minus x. And put plus how put pi. This is pi. Then if this put minus pi or plus pi. Then y equal to 0. This and this y equal to x, and this is plus 2 pi, so this is minus 2 pi. Then put x in x 2 pi, then 2 pi minus 2 pi is 0. And this is the minus y equal to minus x, and this is minus pi. So this is also minus pi. Then put x equal to minus pi. So plus pi and pi equal to 0. And this graph is y equal to x, and this is minus 2 pi, so this is plus 2 pi. Now put x equal to minus 2 pi and plus 2 pi equal to 0. Now the graph of y equal to cos inverse cos x. Y equal to cos inverse cos x. X belongs to r, and y belongs to 0 to pi. And this is period. Period is 2 pi. This period is 2 pi. Now draw the graph. This is 0, this is pi, this is pi by 2, this is pi, this is 3 pi by 2, this is 2 pi, this is 5 pi by 2, this is 3 pi, minus pi by 2, minus pi, minus 3 pi by 2, minus 2 pi. So now this graph looks like pi to 1, pi, this is pi, and this graph is 2 pi. Just this is 2 pi, this is pi, this is 3 pi by 2. Now this graph, this looks like this graph. This is 3 pi by 5 pi by 2, 3 pi, 7 pi by 2, and 4 pi. It's like this. This y passes, this is y equal to x, and this is y equal to minus x. And this graph y equal to the minus x, and this is plus 2 pi. Then minus x plus 2 pi. And this graph y equal to x, y equal to x, and this is a minus 2 pi, this is plus 2 pi. Then x, put in x in minus 2 pi, then this is the 0. This is the graph. Then period is 2 pi, period is 2 pi. Now tan x, tan inverse tan x, y equal to tan inverse tan x when x belongs to r minus 2n plus 1 into pi by 2, and n belongs to integer number, y belongs to minus pi by 2, pi by 2. Now this is 0, pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2, 2 pi, minus pi by 2, minus pi, minus 3 pi by 2, minus 2 pi. Now this graph just look like this. This is pi by 2, this is minus pi by 2. This graph, this is open, this is open, this is open now. The graph, this is y equal to x, and this is y equal to x minus pi, and this is y equal to x minus 2 pi. In this graph, slope is 1, so this is x, this is minus y, minus pi, this is plus pi. Now this is the graph. Now graph of cot into cot inverse x. Fourth, y equal to cot inverse cot x, and x belongs to r minus n pi, n belongs to integer, y belongs to 0 to pi. No, this is period is pi, This period is pi. Minus this period is pi. Pi. Just same this 0 to pi. Minus pi. This is pi. This is pi by 2 or this is pi by 2. And pi by 2 plus pi by 2. Pi. 0 to pi. And now minus this is pi by 2. This is pi. This is 3 pi by 2. This is 2 pi. This is minus pi by 2. Minus pi. Minus 3 pi by 2 minus 2 pi. Now this graph 0 to pi. This this is pi. This is pi. Pi. This type of graph. Now this is y equal to x. This is y equal to x minus pi. This is y equal to x minus pi then plus pi. Now y equal to, and this is period is pi. This period is pi. Now y equal to cosec inverse cos x. X belongs to, you can also write x belongs to r minus and pi, and n belongs to integer number. Y belongs to minus pi by 2 pi by 2 minus 0 minus 0. Y belongs to minus pi by 2 pi by 2 except 0. Now you can write cosec inverse x equal to sine inverse 1 by x. Yes. So this is the cosec inverse x. Then cosec inverse x equal to y equal to cosec inverse cosec x equal to, you can write sine inverse sine 1 by cosec x. So y equal to sine inverse sine x. Now this type you can write cosec inverse x equal to sine inverse 1 by x. Now draw the graph. This is minus pi by 2. This is pi by 2. Pi by 2. This is pi. This is 3 pi by 2. This is 2 pi minus pi by 2 minus 3 pi by 2 minus pi by 2 minus pi minus 3 pi by 2 and minus 2 pi. So now this graph but not 0. This 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 point and same y equal to minus pi by 2 pi by 2 and y equal to minus, this is the y equal to x, this is the y equal to minus x. Now y equal to y equal to x, and this is y equal to minus x plus pi. Minus x plus pi. This type, this is y equal to minus x plus pi, then minus pi. Now the graph of cosec into cosec inverse x into, now y equal to sec inverse sec x equal, x belongs to r minus 2n plus 1 into pi by 2, and n belongs to integer number, and y belongs to, also we can write minus 0 to pi by 2 union pi by 2 0 to pi, yeah, or y belongs to 0 to pi x minus pi by 2, you can write. So now draw the graph, this graph. You can also, the y equal to sec inverse sec x. So you can write sec cos inverse 1 upon sec x. Y equal to cos inverse x equal cos inverse to cos x. So now draw the graph. This graph draw. You can write this graph 0 to pi. This is the graph of the cos inverse. This graph, and 0 to pi. This is pi by 2. This point not allow. This point, this point, this point. This, this. This is minus. This is not minus pi by 2. Minus pi by 2, then not. This is the graph of the sec inverse sec x. Now, thank you.